welcome back into another episode to the show Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Parker. This is presented by Beyond the Monster. Today's guest, we have another member of the Red Sox 2024 draft class, Blake Aita, on the show today. And Blake's one of the guys that's kind of flying under the radar right now. I feel like you've been hearing about a couple of the other names in there from like the spring breakout game and things like that, but Blake Aita, he's a starting pitcher from Kennesaw State that they picked up in the 6th round this year. Obviously, a guy that they're pretty high on, drafting him in the top 10 rounds. He's projected to start the season in Salem's rotation once they break camp. But before I get any further, please, whether you're watching this on YouTube right now, listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is, please give a 5-star rating, subscribe, do it, whatever it is that you got to do. Always helps me out. Always working hard to get you guys more and more guys around the game here. But yeah, without further ado, let's shoot you off to the interview with Blake Aita. All right, guys, I am joined by Boston Red Sox pitching prospect Blake Aita. Blake, I know we were kind of catching up a little bit off air and everything like that, but I am curious. You have not pitched in a legit game in probably little less than a year now. I guess it was right before the draft. So what have you been up to? I guess how has what's your offseason looked like, and what has spring training looked like for you?
Yeah, I mean, after the draft, a pretty heavy workload in the spring with Kennesaw last year. My last game was actually probably May 26th or something like that. So it's been quite a while. But after the draft, they kind of just built us up throwing wise and lifting wise, kind of just get us all into the same position going forward. And then the offseason was a lot of just like velo based workouts, like running, gaining some weight, trying to get some more mass so we could all throw some more gas. But it's been just a lot of training and development. I played in probably 2 of the little inter squad games when the season was over with the FCL squad, just to kind of throw live inning each. But just now started throwing the spring training games and ready to hit the affiliate soon.
By the way, I had Worcester pitching coach Dan DeLucia on this show a couple weeks ago, and he kept saying more mass equals more gas, and I love that. I absolutely love that phrase.
No, they preach it. They preach it here.
Oh yeah, it's I'll get into that too later, because I got a few questions about you obviously belong to the 2024 draft class with a few other large human beings on the mound. So I will ask that question in a bit, but you kind of pointed something out. Your last, I guess, competitive game. I know you've been doing some inter squad stuff and kind of slowly getting into the spring training things, but you hadn't pitched since May when you were with Kennesaw. And I feel like for you, and I guess for every guy that comes into the draft and doesn't pitch right away in an affiliate, it's gotta be weird, like not suiting up in a game and waiting so long. Like, you've had a lot of time off in a competitive game. So how do you stay sharp? Like, how does a guy stay with it and be like, okay, I know I can do it, just when the time comes, like, I just gotta be sharp?
You just got to have the confidence in yourself. I mean, like, when you pitched in games in college and you got yourself to this point, like, you just got to have the confidence that like your stuff's still going to be as good as it was before in games. Like, I mean, all the development work we're doing here isn't for nothing. Like, we're doing pitch shapes, pitch design, and stuff like that in our bullpens. We're working on our velo. We're making everything better. So you just got to go out there and trust the competitive nature that you had in college and stuff like that before.
So I something interesting too, and I know you were kind of talking about, obviously you're doing some velo training, and I don't know if the team has asked you to add any pitches to the arsenal or anything like that, but for fans that aren't too familiar with Blake Aita as the pitcher, what kind of things do you bring? Like, what does the pitch arsenal look like? Like, where, I know a lot of fans really care about velocity. I know the Red Sox obviously care about velocity. So, like, where are you sitting at these days? Like, what does that all look like?
So, I mean, in college, I was more of the low 90s guy, get up to 94, maybe a 95. But recently, I have been sitting 93, 95. I've got up to a 6 recently. The arsenal's pretty much stayed the same since college, except for more usage on the changeup. And we've kind of been just hammering that just because I'm a big fastball, like cutter, sweeper guy, and those have always been my pitches. So like just the feel for pitches that like I supinate with have always been just like super big confidence pitches for me. So hammering the changeup is just going to be really good for me in like the long run. So that's been my main development process, and it's been going pretty well so far.
So there is a running joke among whether it's fans or even some of us that cover some of the minor leagues in the Red Sox system, that if you're a pitcher and you get drafted by the Red Sox, let's say in the last 3 seasons, you're going to learn a sweeper if you didn't already have one. So so you already had a sweeper coming into the organization.
Yep. I've had fastball, cutter, sweeper the past 2 years.
Okay. So did they tweak anything? Were they just like, was it a grip thing, or were they just like, hey, this is what we like to see, this is why we drafted you, essentially?
Yeah, I haven't adjusted it at all. Cutter and
Wow.
sweeper have stayed the exact same since the draft, and I think those are like supinating and making pitches go that way have always been my strong suit. So they've ever since I've came in, we've been trying to work all the different ways of trying to get the changeup to work. And I think the last time I pitched, I threw 3 innings against the Twins the other day, and I threw probably 10 to 15 changeups and 30 something pitches. So getting the game feel right now and the confidence, it's getting a lot better.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And I did want to ask you as well about joining the Red Sox organization, because we haven't seen you in a competitive game yet. So there's not a whole lot to go off of as far as like game time, but I know you've obviously spent a lot of time at the complex and around like some of your teammates now that you will be reporting to an affiliate here in just a couple weeks. But let's just talk about you joining the organization, though. They obviously used the 6th-round pick on you this past year, and that's honestly a good spot for you to land. So what was it like, I guess, having the Red Sox, were they involved like pre-draft? Like, did you know you were going there? Was it kind of a surprise? Like, how did that work out?
It was actually kind of a surprise, but I guess it would have been more of a surprise as like a team that hadn't talked to you much that drafted you. But I hadn't really met with the Red Sox before. I think I had talked to the Red Sox area scout just a couple times through text or email and filled out like a questionnaire or something. But I didn't really expect the Red Sox. And me and my family, my girlfriend, we all did like a little thing where we picked like the top 3 teams that we thought was going to pick me, and none of us had the Red Sox in there. So it was a pretty big surprise. But I think as a pitcher, I think going to the Red Sox was one of the biggest blessings. So no, I'm very excited to be with the Red Sox now.
And I know you're obviously just brand new to the professional world, and obviously you're about to get your first full season under your belt here in 2025. But did you, like, once it was the Red Sox and you kind of found out, like, obviously you have a former big league pitcher as the president of baseball operations in Breslow, and then you have obviously Andrew Bailey up at the major league level. You got a lot of pitching minds, a lot of guys that have actually done it, things like that. For you as a pitcher, does that give you more confidence in like, okay, these guys like get like what a pitcher has to go through? Like, does that help at all, or is that something that doesn't really matter?
Oh, for sure. It definitely helps. I mean, just knowing that you have those people to kind of just piggyback information off and like kind of pick their brains, like they've been there, and obviously making the big leagues is your goal if you're out here playing for one of these organizations. So being able to pick guys' brains like that, it's always valuable information. So
there's a guy that's been a return guest on this show that you share a college with. His name is Blake Wehunt, and obviously you guys were on the same team in 2023 at Kennesaw. And was there any talks, like, once you did find out it was the Red Sox, like, did you hit up Blake or did he hit you up? Was it one of those things like, hey, like, here's what it is, or like, how was your relationship with Blake?
I mean, he was a senior. I was a freshman at Kennesaw the year we played together. But we had a pretty good relationship, as in like he was our Friday starter, and my freshman year I was one of those long relief guys, and it just happened to be the role where I relieved his outings every Friday, and it kind of was just a full circle moment because the next year I took over his spot when he left. I was a Friday starter, and then came and got drafted by the Red Sox, and you know how like you probably heard from the draftees and stuff like that. The phone just blows up after the draft. Like just everybody's telling you congrats and everything. And he was one of the first people to text me. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's when I saw Kennesaw State on draft day, I was kind of just like, hold on a second. Like it's not like every year a Kennesaw State guy gets drafted, especially by the same organization, by the way.
And the
It's
same
very
names.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's a lot of weird things where it's just like, hold on, Kennesaw, like I'm pretty sure we all went to Kennesaw. So it was interesting. Like, Kennesaw is not really known as like a baseball powerhouse, but I know they're a little slept on. But yeah, I thought it was cool. And, I do, speaking of large pitchers, obviously Blake is an intimidating frame on the mound, but your
Yeah.
draft class, man, holy cow. Every single pitcher from Peyton Tolley all the way down to Calvin Bickerstaff, who was the undrafted guy in your group, they are huge. Like, you guys are a huge group of human beings in that pitching class. Were you a little like taken back when you arrived at the complex after draft and you were probably not even halfway to the tallest person?
Not really. I think, yeah, I mean, being 6'7", 6'8" is pretty cool. Like being able to use that kind of size on the mound, be that kind of presence. But, I have confidence in myself and my own like abilities. Like looking at like size isn't always the thing. Like there's Jose Altuve for the Astros. He's over there 5'6". Like Ozzie Albies with the Braves. Like size isn't always the thing. I mean, yeah, it helps and yeah, it's cool, but hey, 6'3" ain't too small.
All right. I mean, I see I was gonna give you an extra inch. I see you're listed at 6'4", 215. So I don't know. They gave you an extra inch apparently on this website I was looking at.
Hey, I'll take
Um,
6.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, it's I feel like they have a type, especially after the past season. They drafted Blake and Trenter O'Donnell with two just massive human beings. I was like, there's no way they're ever gonna get a guy bigger than this. And then they added Peyton Tolley to the mound this year. So yeah, I've heard a lot of good things. Obviously, 15 pitchers in the draft class is nuts, by the way. So for you, like getting into camp and being around all these guys, what has that been like? Just becoming friends now with all these guys, and obviously you guys all have the same goal in mind. But how have things been, I guess, with the group?
It's pretty cool actually. Like you would think with how big the organization is and how many levels there are, there's like 160 minor league players. You'd think you wouldn't see many of them every day, like especially in that small quarters, but you kind of get to know everybody pretty quickly, even the position players. When you're in the weight room, you're in the locker room, training room, like everybody seems to like get along, and it kind of helps with like the off-season program that we did as well through before the dead period. So there's a 2-month period where like there was like 80 of us, and you get a big group of people in there. And then as spring training came in, you knew most of the people coming. And then when people started coming as stragglers that weren't in the off-season program, you got to know them pretty quick just because of the friends you made in the off-season program.
So I have one more draft class question. I'm going to shoot to something else, but it's one of our dear friends and one of my good Zaxby's guys in your draft class, good old Conrad Kaysen. And he's probably one of the funniest dudes, I think, in your class. And he started tagging me in his Instagram stories of him going to Zaxby's because I'm a big Zaxby's guy. Me and him kind of bonded over that. So how cool is it to watch him kind of do his thing as a two-way player? It's like when I was at the complex, I would see him doing fielding drills with some of the guys on one of the backfields. And then I would see him run over to the pitching field with you guys and throw around in the outfield and everything. So is that kind of unique to see that? Because obviously it's not, it's not very common, but what's your perspective on a guy trying to do that?
Yeah, I think it's very impressive. I mean, at Kennesaw, we had a guy that played first base, outfield, and pitch. So we had a guy that kind of just did it all with us as well. So, and especially with like college being only like 30, 40 players, like you notice that a little bit more. And like as our times at the field, they kind of like everything kind of clusters around. And so I don't really get to see Conrad throwing too much, but no, I love Conrad. He's a great kid. He's super funny, but no, he's very talented. I mean, watching his bullpens whenever I get the chance is just electric. But no, he's going to be special one day.
Yeah, when he was when we had him on, I think last fall, and he told us that he had been clocked at 100 in a game, and he's obviously playing some good competition down in Atlanta area, which Atlanta's stacked with high school talent. What he was doing down there, I'm just like, it's incredible, man. It's kudos to him. It's not easy to do, especially on both sides of the ball, like you were saying. All right. So for yourself, we're a little over a week, I think, out from getting to an affiliate. What are you looking forward to the most about starting your professional career?
I think right now it's just more of wanting to be in a competitive game. I'm just really looking forward to starting up these games and starting up my first season. I haven't played since May, as we said earlier in the talk. So I think that's a little like taking over my mind a little more than being able to think about the other little things. But yeah, I'm ready to get into a game for sure and start this season.
I never like assuming where guys are going to begin the season because I know obviously things can change all the time. Injuries can happen, whatever can happen. So uh, I'm gonna put both of these in the same basket. So I'm gonna put Salem and Greenville both in the same basket. Have you ever been to either place? Like, have you ever had any experiences there before you head out to an affiliate?
No, I have not. I've never been over to Salem nor Virginia, but I've been to the Greenville area for I mean, not really the Greenville area, but just like around Clemson. I played at Clemson a couple times in college, so I've been to the area, but I haven't really gotten to like experience the city.
So Greenville is probably one of the best affiliates in the system, which I'm sure you probably heard from some guys and around the locker room. But Greenville is incredible. You can walk around everywhere. There's coffee shops, there's restaurants, everything within walking distance of the stadium. Salem, on the other hand, kind of out in the sticks. Have you heard any good stuff about Salem?
I've heard the living that they put us in, like the apartments are really nice. I've heard that there's just not too much to do around there, but the guys, we all like to play some golf. So there's some
Ooh.
golf courses around there that they kind of hook up the Red Sox. So it's good to hear there too as well for the off days.
Have you
So
have you been golfing a lot this spring?
not too much this spring, but in the fall we golfed a ton because the prices here in the spring have just been absurd. And now that we're starting to play some games and stuff like that, I don't really hop on the course as much.
Are you where would you rank yourself with the group that you were golfing with as part of the Red Sox contingency? Are you in the bottom half or upper half?
Bottom half.
Ooh, okay, humble guy. All right.
Yeah.
Who's impressed you so far in I guess the draft class and whoever else you've been playing with?
Ben Hansen, you heard the name?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's gross on the course.
Really?
Yeah, like close to scratch.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like I feel like
he's
there's three guys that are
yeah.
close to scratch in the Red Sox system. That's impressive to be honest.
Yeah, no, he's really good. Devin Fattrell's pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
No, there's a couple good golfers for sure.
Yeah. No, that's Ben Hansen, man, close to scratch. That's incredible.
Yeah,
Um,
he's got a golf TikTok. So
does he?
yeah.
Did he? Okay, I didn't know Utah really was known for a lot of golf out there, but okay.
He's from California.
Oh, okay. He was a BYU guy though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense. All
Yep.
right. Yeah. I always want to sneak in some golf questions that love golf. I know all you guys, every single time I'm in the Worcester locker room, there's golf clubs everywhere. Portland's the same way everywhere. So yeah, both spots probably have some good spots there. All right. So I saw you, we obviously talked about it. You were a Friday starter during your last season at Kennesaw. The year before that, you had mentioned that you had come out of the bullpen. You were a long relief guy. You didn't start any games in that season. For you starting your pro career, you always hear about a lot of guys that, that may have been starters in college. They ended up transitioning to the bullpen. That's just what the team sees you as, whatever it is. So for yourself, has the team kind of talked to you about what they want to see out of you? Whether are you, you're building up to be in a starting rotation wherever you go? Are you going to be a bullpen guy? What is it going to look like for you?
Right now I'm building up as a starter. I am going up an inning every other week. So this week I'll enter the 4 innings. So 4 innings this week, 4 innings before break camp, and then I assume first week in an affiliate 5 innings. So building up as a starter as of right now. I've always been a starter my whole life. So the whole reliever thing freshman year was new to me, especially because I didn't start relieving until the very last inter squad of preseason. So I started the fall game against Florida State. I started in all of our inter squads. And then the last preseason game, our coach was like, "Hey, we need a reliable option out of the bullpen. Our starters, we have a couple old arms, so we need a reliable option out of the bullpen that can throw 1 to 3 times a week." And that's just the role that I fit in freshman year. And then went up to the Cape and relieved as well there, just because that's what I did my freshman year. And then came down and we immediately built me up for a starter my sophomore year.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the Cape, by the way, because I was going to bring that up at some point. You've already experienced Massachusetts, and obviously, I know that you got a long way to go before you get up to Boston. But I did see when you got drafted, every single person was like, played in the Cape, played for Yarmouth in the Cape, played in the Cape, and it was just like everybody loves the fact you've already worn some Red Sox colors, and you haven't, you before you even part of the organization. What was it? What was your experience like in Massachusetts and being on the Cape for the summer?
It was actually super cool. I mean, being from down south, I'd actually never been up north other than Cooperstown when I was 12, but that's for a week and you're sleeping in barracks. So you don't really get to experience much. But yeah, it was the first time I've ever really been up north. And I mean, the weather was super nice on the Cape. I mean, you got some weird things happening with the fog, the super cold mornings, but in the afternoon, it was beautiful. But it was a great experience for sure. I mean, great competition, a bunch of scouts out there watching you, but it was awesome.
Yeah, the Cape is not real life, by the way. Like Cape in the summertime is just like you feel like you're in a movie all the time. It's like kind of one of those things. It's like you got like all the rich old people out there for the summer, and then they'll head down to Florida once the winter comes. But it's just crazy, man. The Cape is wild, but I've heard a lot of good things though from a lot of guys that do go to the Cape about like their host families and about how incredible they are. Did you have a pretty good experience with the host family?
I did. They still text us every now and then, but they're Twins
There we
fans,
go.
so
Ooh.
yeah, not the
Okay.
best. We play them quite a bit here, but yeah, they're Twins fans. But no, they're very supportive, and they'll text me still, and I haven't seen them since that summer.
Yeah, get used to every single spring training having a scrimmage games against good old Twins. I feel like you guys get kind of tired of those guys after a
Yeah,
while. So
after the draft, like I said, I got to play in 2 of those little inter squad games. Those were also against the Twins. But tomorrow I get to pitch against the Rays, so it's my first time pitching against somebody other than the Twins or the Red Sox.
there you go. Okay, that's exciting. All right. Well, I got a couple questions left before I let you slide here, and they're not baseball related. They're off the field. I know you had mentioned that you did enjoy golfing, and that's kind of one of your things you like to do. But what do you like to do if you get, let's just say it's raining outside, right? So you can't golf outside, and you got an off day, you're done training early, whatever it is. What are you doing with your free time?
I'm playing some video games with the boys for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do we got rolling?
New MLB The Show just came out, so that's what I'm playing right now. Yeah, I was playing with one of my Kennesaw teammates last night for a couple hours. Hopefully we see the Red Sox maybe potentially draft him next year, but
Ooh.
another Kennesaw guy.
All right, speak that one into existence. I like it.
But or some of my buddies from high school will play Call of Duty Warzone. But
Okay.
yeah,
Have you received your real 99 yet?
not yet. I applied for it and they're making it.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
gonna be sick. That'll be fun to use. I bet. That's
yeah,
gonna be good.
I'm super excited for that. I've always been a huge MLB The Show fan, so like being able to see myself in the game would be sick.
Yeah, I've also been playing the new show, and 24. I don't know, the MLB Show 24. I lost interest so quickly. Like I played it for like a month, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. Something about it. It was just like it just wasn't great. Just didn't keep my attention. This game though, I feel like I'm gonna probably be tuned in for majority of the summer into this show. I don't know how you feel about it.
No, I feel the same way. I like how they're kind of taking a while to get to the higher overall cards to make you kind of have to stay in the game for a little while. So
Agreed.
yeah, but last year 99s being out right at the start was like, dang, everybody's got the same team, everybody's good. It's just tough. Now you got to actually like work to get the good players to beat these guys. So
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's I think day one, I think I had like 499s last year, and it's just like I didn't even like pay extra. Like I didn't use like I don't know. It's I get what you're saying. All right, got one question left, and I will let you slide here. I don't know if you're a goals guy. I don't know how you like if you're a statistical goal guy, if you're like some guys have like, what weight goals, velo goals, whatever it is throughout the year that they want to hit. So I don't know what you are, and that's why I'm going to ask this question here. What would you consider a successful season in 2025? What goals do you have in mind that you want to accomplish? So you look back and be like, you know what, that was actually a really good year in 2025.
I think, kind of just using my stuff that I've always been good at, like going and trusting like my strengths and using them against other pro players. Like it's obviously my first professional season. I don't really have a taste of what facing a pro lineup is much. Like I have faced obviously like these little spring training rosters and lineups and stuff like that. But once you get in a game atmosphere, everybody knows it's different. So kind of just going out there and showing that my stuff's good and that I can compete at this level and hopefully compete at each level as it goes low A, high A, double A, et cetera. Like just showing that my stuff competes at each one of those levels.
All right, Blake. Well, I appreciate you hopping on and obviously having fans get a chance to, kind of meet you and kind of see what you're about. And obviously before you start your journey to whichever affiliate you will be at here within a couple weeks. But thank you so much for doing this and best of luck this year.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on.